Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time from my good friend Mike, OCP Communications. And if you hear noise, it's because it's a bit windy today. But thanks go out to him, and for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, or randomness, out of the blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box under the video. Now, this is for the 1992 film Toys, which this is a custom-made Blu-ray. This is not officially out on Blu-ray, and the individual did a really good job with this. It looks great. It's got some TV spots, trailers. But Toys is a film from 1992 starring Robin Williams. Robin Williams I miss greatly. When he passed away, it was one of the biggest times I was sad for a celebrity passing. It really was. It broke my heart. And then to find out what had happened, what he did to himself, and then you find out with more research that his mind was being affected, and there's even talk of, was he in his right mind when that happened? Or did he do that because he knew he would... when you look into it, I forget the official term of what he had, but I don't know, one of the symptoms is dementia. It's very sad. It's very heartbreaking. Because Robin... It's weird because I've never met the guy. The guy never knew who I was. It's a total stranger on that part, but you see just interviews, and you see constant interviews where he just is this ball of energy and creativity and warmth, and just ba 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 ba. Every interview is like a stand-up routine ad-lib. Some people got annoyed by that, but to me, I found it infinitely entertaining to see just how his mind would take any situation and come up with 18 things. Whether it be his Inside the Actors studio episode where he just, whatever he sees, he just goes into a routine about it. The creativity, how rapid fire he was in coming up with stuff was fantastic. And being a fan of his movies as well. I liked Jumanji. I'm partial to a film called Club Paradise, directed by Harold Ramis. I always thought that was a very funny film. Cadillac Man. I like Good Morning Vietnam. He was a good dramatic actor when you watch films like 1 Hour Photo and Dead Poet Society. He could do drama, Good Will Hunting. And yeah, I just really do miss Robin Williams. And I would see films and go, man, what if he starred in that? Like Pixels. Because I know Robin Williams, he was into pop culture type of stuff. He named his daughter Zelda from the video game. He knew about the Ninja Turtles because he was working on Cadillac Man, and the actress who was in it was Judith Hoag, and the next film she was going to do was the 1990 Ninja Turtles film. And there's a story that he gave her the comic books to go, hey, this is, what it's based on. This is what you... Like, he's, sometimes people ask, was there a celebrity you would love to have met? And usually I'm like, no, not really. But he's one of them. To pick his brain on any matter of whether pop culture, whatever else it may be. I think we lost a great talent. And watches this again, you're able to witness that, and then some. And what's sad is this film, when it came out, it was a big box office bomb. Barry Levinson, the director of Rain Man, this was a passion project for him. And you could see it. I could see his passion on the screen. And the film, there are people that despise the film. It gets, what, a 5.1 on IMDb, if that. The critics completely demolished it. Like, there's a quote by Roger Ebert that seems rather flattering. but he still gave the film 2.5 stars. Like, he has this quote, visually one of the most extraordinary films I've seen, a delight for the eyes, a brand new world. He still gave the film 2.5 stars. When you look at, I mean, it just, and the film's not even on official Blu-ray. This is a custom Blu-ray. So it's not even on official Blu-ray, and Robin Williams has passed away, and this is still a film that doesn't even get the decency of a Blu-ray release, official. Which is why then I go to stuff like this on the market. You're not supposed to do that. Well, if they're not going to fucking do it, then I'm going to find another way. And the person who made this obliged, and he did a really good job. Now, toys, I do think bad marketing hurt the film. Because even like the poster doesn't really tell you. In a way it does, but in a way it doesn't. Like this robot, I don't think this robot ever comes into play. And, I mean, in a way it looks like a version of Willy Wonka. And if you think about it, the film is kind of, if you take Willy Wonka facing off against military toys. But even that might be a bit disingenuous of a comparison. I just mentioned Willy Wonka with how creative that movie was. And the trailer was just Robin Williams in front of a field doing some ad-libbing. And it's a fun teaser to watch in retrospect. But you release these trailers that don't show the creativity at all with this film. Robin Williams, great talent. By this point, he had been in films like Dead Poets Society and Good Morning Vietnam. But when you're like, this film is one of the more visually creative films of the 90s, and your marketing doesn't showcase that. When I mean creative, I mean like the art design, the set design. I mean, even showing a pair of stairs in a intriguing way, where two people don't go up the stairs, but it's a stairs on wheels. And so as they walk up, it slowly cascades to the wall as they're walking up. Or, okay, let's have an idea that the general, this general guy who takes over the toy company because his brother, aka Robin Williams' father, passes away. And the owner said, hey, I want my brother to take over this. And some people go, well, don't you think it's a bad idea? Yeah, but I need my son to grow up, and if there's a way to do it, I gotta take the chance. Granted, it was too much of a risky chance, but so be it. With that said, you look at the way the toy store looks, not store, but the toy company looks. If I said toy store, I meant toy company. Toy factory. That's the best way to describe it. Toy factory, where a lot of this is done for real, practical. And I was saying, they take something as simple as the general needs more room. Renovation, I need more room for my stuff, to build my own stuff. So, instead of doing it in a typical way, people just building, oh, we have it where Robin and some characters are looking at some stuff, and then you see this room slowly turn into a giant Tetris game. Like the wall's closing in, and there's pieces of the wall. It looks like a big old game of Tetris. And so they have to get up on top of this table, and when it's done, the table has now become the new floor. And this is all done in camera. Again, I find it ironic that so many of these films of today, they have shit for plot, shit for story, shit for characters, and they get the pass only for its visuals, its cinematography, its look what it can do. This film does that, and it still has better characters, better story than some of that shit. But this doesn't, and people go, I don't see why anyone would despise this. I don't. I think at the very least, it shows with enough passion and creative juices what you can accomplish. And people say, well, the story's kind of, I don't want to say basic, but I think maybe some people watched it and they wanted to see such a big, with the scope and creating this dynamic world, I just they wanted some really upper echelon ideas, whether it be of life, of death, of whatever it may be. The fact that it was this tale of innocence versus cynicism. That's the way I put it. Robin Williams, his sister, played by Joan Cusack, being very innocent, loving each day, loving their jobs. Robin Williams trying to have fun each time, wearing these weird jackets, like a smoking jacket, or a jacket that each time it moves it makes a sound. He's told that he's a fool, and he takes it as a compliment. He's trying to get to know this co-worker, played by Robin Wright. Used to be Robert Wright Penn, but at this point she was just Robin Wright. And sometimes their banter is a bit weird, like when she mimics a dolphin. I thought that was a bit weird and not as funny as they thought it would be. But other times, just when like their first meeting seems like an ad-lib going on for way too long. But then there's other moments like later on when she's on her bicycle and he meets her and, hey, you know what, I'll help you ride that bike. Like that scene I thought was a bit more endearing and successful than the first one. And does the movie have flaws? Sure. It's a bit overlong at 2 hours. I don't think it needed to be a 2-hour-long movie. It seems like it takes a good deal of time to get the actual plot fluctuating. Because, like, the first chunk is kind of just being enveloped in this world. But I guess, for me, I was fine with that because I appreciate seeing someone's imagination take flight. For example, The Cell. This film called The Cell with Jennifer Lopez, Vince Vaughn. I forget the guy who directed it, but it's Jennifer Lopez going to the dreamscape of this serial killer played by Vincent D'Onofrio, and you see this weird, okay, basic person going to a serial killer's dreams. But just what they're able to do and let their minds run wild and show me something I haven't seen before. I appreciate that. And you don't get that a lot nowadays. If people go, well, wait a minute, you just said, yeah, the films that people say are so creative. I'm like, no, they're not. I don't get what people are saying. Or like A24 films. How many times does an A24 film get a fucking pass, whether it be Hereditary or Midsommar or whatever the fuck, The Lighthouse? Oh, look at his visuals. This film, visual-wise, beats the shit out of those films, but it's more comprehensible, it's more understandable, it's less of a slog to sit through, and it actually has some endearing qualities to it. It has a fantastic score, helped by Hans Zimmer. You have some really nice songs, like the closing of the year that starts the film. If it's Christmas time, which it was, not too long ago, listening to closing of the year is a great song to get your heart into the festivities. And whether it be the lush green fields and you have this elephant blowing bubbles to the, not bubbles, but that's later on at the end. At the beginning he's blowing the snow into this place like in the middle of this field. At one point there's like a big block of, there's like a block, and it opens up so the house is like a pop-up. You know those pop-up books? You open up and it pops. That's what this house is. This is one point where Robin Williams takes Joan Cusack for her to sleep. And she's sleeping and it's like this big room. And it's this weird like duck swan thing that cascades down to encase her. Yeah, like that's a bit weird. You find out later why Joan Cusack needs a little bit of this specific stuff. And people said, well, it's just not funny. Well, you know what? I got more laughs out of this than Ghostbusters Afterlife. Whether it be the funeral for the dad, and they keep hearing this laughter. What the hell? and they realize that the dad put this barrel of laughs thing. And Robin is like, "Good one, Dad. Don't you think we should take that out?" "Nah, the batteries will go out of it." And then much later on, this has been like days, weeks later, they come back, and you still hear that. And Robin says, "Wow, that's some good batteries." LL Cool J, who plays the General's son, I like that he's always trying to find a way to either camouflage himself with the proceedings. His little rant about, "I hate when the food touches. I like military place, military man." And funny enough, Jamie Foxx makes a little cameo appearance as one of the people that works for the General. And I say that because there's a scene where Jamie Foxx and LL Cool J are together. And later on, they would be in Any Given Sunday. And from what I understand, they really butted heads in that movie. Behind the scenes. LL Cool J and Jamie Foxx hated each other on that film. So yeah, I just think it's ironic years before they were in this. Granted, Jamie Foxx has a small part, but he's in like maybe 1 or 2 scenes. I guess people didn't like the fact that it seemed pretty much every scene was Robin ad-libbing. It seemed like, "Robin, you go ahead and you do it." But you know what? Robin is a lot more talented in that than, say, speaking of Ghostbusters, 2016. Where those 4 ladies, Paul Feig, said, "You guys just ad-lib." And you know what? The critics gave that a fucking pass. They didn't give this film a pass. So when critics go, "Well, you know what? It's just bad when people ad-lib in this movie." Well, that's funny because you were fine when Ghostbusters 2016 just ad-libbed endlessly. Only Robin, I'm sorry, is more creative in his ad-libs, or he's just more full of energy, or he's just a lot funnier. Whether it's with these deviled eggs and he's moving in with a magnet, oh, trying to act like he's possessed. "Oh, get some toothpicks. Yeah, make a cross." And this film did set up some ideas that you would see later. The military, because one of the things the General wants to do is use this toy factory to create toys. Toys that could be used for military purposes. And the way he describes it, he's describing drones. What would become drones. And he, of course, this is fantasy. Of course, at this point, fantasy. So he brings these kids in who plays these video games, and they're moving it to train them, test their reflexes. It's like, wow, imagine if kids could do this with the video games and they're testing reflexes. Imagine just having thousands of these toy helicopters, get some ammo in them. You go in and the kids don't know what they're doing, just what you tell them to do. And in a weird way, when you see the screen after screen after screen of kids controlling this stuff, that's drone warfare. What do you think that happens with drones? Someone sits in a cubicle, they're controlling it, and I swear there's a film I haven't seen yet, I would like to see someday. I think Jake Gyllenhaal was in it, where he played like a drone pilot, and it was getting to him because he's in safety, but at the same time he is told to kill people, and how, you know, that's affecting his head. I forget, maybe it's just called Drone, I forget what the film is called. But that is the thing that has happened. And this film kind of, again, fantasy way, led that idea forward, and yet no one ever mentions it. And I just thought Barry Levinson, you see someone's passion project come to fruition, and I don't see anything that egregious about the film that it got such heavily panned. Does every joke, whether from Robin or from the film, work? No. Like I mentioned, I think the first time him and Robin Wright meet, or at least there's a point where they're in a cafeteria, I think that's a bit awkward. Again, like she tries to make the noise of a dolphin, and Robin says something like, "I wonder how long she's been out of the water." And there's like some awkward dialogue there, at least for me. Like I said, the film is 2 hours. I think there's about 15 minutes you could edit out of the film, or at least maybe 10. And I do think the finale, like the very end, suffers from ho-hum direction of the action scenes, where the director, you can tell Barry Levinson he's not used to doing action scenes, because when you come to find out that the general's doing this, making these war toys that could be used for to kill people, and that's not what Robin and them want. LL Cool J finds out that his father fucked over his mother and lied about it, so LL Cool J decides to help Robin. And then you have Robin Wright, and you have Joan Cusack, you have this other guy. The other guy, I remember, was in Hook with Robbie Williams. So they go into the facility, they want to destroy the controls, but then the general sends out these war toys. And I thought it was kind of cool that you had, that does kind of turn to a little bit of an action film at the end. I don't mind that idea. I think a lot of critics, a lot of people didn't like that idea. They thought it'd either be much broader ideas, or that it would be, quote, smarter, or that, oh, it just devolved into an action film. I think there were people that are disappointed. I actually don't mind that. But with that said, the director at times uses this slow motion that looks ugly. It's kind of like slow motion. Okay, when you do slow motion in a shot, if you set it up beforehand, it will look beautiful. John Woo does that. Like, John Woo knows this scene's going to be slow-mo. This is going to be slow-mo. So take the camera and shoot it in slow-mo so it looks better and more fluid. When someone after the fact goes, oh shit, you know what, I want this slow-mo, and then you do it afterward, it looks a bit blurry, clunky. And that's a lot of times. It was fine when they're being chased through these hallways by these war toys, but then they would go into slow-mo, and the scene kind of got blurry. There's an ending bit where you have this model of the city, which looks cool. We've seen this throughout the film, this giant model set of a city, and there's like a little plane above, well, not little enough for a person to sit in there, but we've had that set up at the beginning. Christmas time, someone in a Santa suit comes in, drops presents on the toys, so they set that up. At the end, Robin Williams gets on there to get to the main station. But there are times where the director is shooting up close, and he's shaking the camera, and it's blurry, because of this weird-ass slow-mo. That hurts the ending. It just makes it look a bit messy. I think the director just shoot it more in wide shots and shoot it at normal speed. You had the money, shoot it wider so we could see the whole thing. All these other scenes of the factory, and you have these beautiful wide shots. Rightfully so. So I don't know why in this he decided to go in this different direction of filming it. Stick with the wide shots and show the scope. When the toys, the war toys, and there's a bit where Robin and their group get the good toys as a distraction, there should have been much more wide shots of, okay, war toys shooting this, and much more wide shots to see the scope of this scene. And the directors didn't do that. I don't know, he thought this slow-mo is meant for war films, and so he said, I'm going to incorporate it into this. I don't know. But I do think, there are issues with the film, but the film's entertaining. Robin, people said he was just sleepwalking through it. I disagree. And from what I understand, he did a lot of this film under the weather with the flu. And he did fairly well. I thought he was committed to the project. I think he still shined. I would put this in my top 5 favorite Robin films, along with, I did Club Paradise is a personal favorite of mine. I really like Jumanji. Cadillac Man is fun. Fifth, I don't know. Aladdin is good, but I meant like his live action stuff. Maybe Mrs. Doubtfire would be in top 5. But like I said, there's a lot of cool ideas that other films will rip off. There's a bit where Robin and Joan Cusack have to go down this hallway, and so they create this fake MTV music video, and they have this green screen down the hallway so that the security guards see the screen, and they don't realize that there's anything wrong. They think it's, oh, somehow this got into MTV. They don't know. They just worked in for whatever low pay. But it's a green screen that our characters roll down the hallway, and then Robin can sneak in. That was ripped off. Not the music video part, but the whole hallway green screen, that was ripped off into a Mission Impossible film. What was it? Was it Ghost Protocol? Yeah, because that was the Mission Impossible. I liked the first one. I liked the third one. I liked Rogue Nation and Fallout. And that was 5 and 6. So yeah, 4 was Ghost Protocol. I could never get into Ghost Protocol. And that's one of the many reasons why. I'm like, wow, that scene just ripped off fucking toys. Although, if I have to be honest, I doubt they saw toys. It was just, ultimately someone was going to come with that idea. But because I guarantee you they didn't fucking see toys, because not many people saw toys. Or they saw toys and they just forget about it. Unless they saw it, they forget about it, but it was the back of their head. They said, I don't remember what this is from, but I just think this film gets a lot of unneeded hate. I think it's rather underrated. And again, with the scope it was trying to entail and the creativity, like, so many times have I yelled about movies today where is the creativity, where's the ingenuity, where are the creative juices flowing? Oh, here's another sequel to a film from 10 years ago, here's another remake, and there are sequels I enjoy. Hell, next year I look forward to Jackass 4. Well, now it's this year. Jackass 4. John Wick 4 that comes out next 2023. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But, like, those are still sequels to other Jackass. I just, so many times than not, I see a lot of, whether it be the Marvel films, whether it be a lot of these reboots, sequels that are pretty much just remakes, whatever you want to call it. I just tired of it. I like everything. There are exceptions to the rule. There are sequels that are like reboots that I like. There's exceptions to everything. I think this film gets a bad rap, and I don't think it deserves it. If people say they despise it, I would like to know why. What is it about to despise? Is it the funniest film ever? No. Again, I do think there are moments that made me chuckle. There are definitely funnier comedies. Like, this would not be my top 10, top 20 favorite comedies. But, again, Robin's energy carries it through. Again, you just look at these screenshots. Like, the way they had this little hallway, and they have these, like, toy Dutch crossing. And you see a little bit of the factory here. I did a Willy Wonka type of aesthetic. And there was always scenes that even as a kid that stuck out for me. Like the general going apeshit crazy at an arcade because he's seeing the competition, what kids are doing, and they're playing video games. So he plays this video game called Tank Gunner. I swear the beginning of that is Super Battle Tank. Because I played that on Super Nintendo. Where it's like the tank in shadow. But it's called Tank Gunner. I swear that beginning though was stolen from Super Battle Tank. On Super Nintendo. But then, I don't know if this is a video game they created for the movie, I'm guessing. And there's these UN trucks, and it's a penalty. I think it's something they created for the movie, which is cool. And it's just wiping out these UN trucks. They shouldn't be there. It just keeps killing it one after one. That visually showcases just how fucking mental this general is. Like I said, I wish in the finale either they get a second unit director that knows how to handle action, whether it be like a Vic Armstrong or someone else, or back in the day you would have Craig Baxley, who would do stuff on the A-Team, and he would like film action scenes for a director, and then he ultimately became a director of I Come in Peace, Action Jackson, and so forth. Either he got another director that knew how to handle action, or again, if that was fixed up a bit, again, about 10 minutes it could be edited. Like, to be honest, this whole creature in this water pit, you didn't even need that creature in the film. It's in one scene where Robin Williams just dragged out, but then he escapes, and we don't quite know how he escapes. I guess there was some door underneath the water. And then it pops back later that you think kills the general, but doesn't, just injures him. You could have easily just had a war toy do one final bit and accidentally hurts the general. Or a helicopter falls, taunts him on the head, or it falls and it had an explosive ready and charged, and when they shut the thing down, the helicopter, I don't know. You didn't need that bit with the creature that you could barely see and get a good look at in the water. Like, that bit you didn't need. It didn't really accomplish anything. So there's stuff you could add, but I think the film is a great movie to look at, to experience, and it was just nice seeing this passion project come to fruition and join the journey. I think it's an underrated film, and Robin Williams, I think he did a great job, and he's greatly missed. I miss the guy. So thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later.